One character trait, one attribute of God is his perfection. And in his perfection, we have to understand that God will allow you to get that same test over and over again until you learn to pass it. And we forget about that. We think that, oh, I stumble over here. I have an issue with this sin right here. This is a problem over here. And we think that God is just, okay, I'll go ahead and promote you anyway. Or, okay, I'll go ahead and give you, this, whatever that is anyway, even though that you are proven that you are not ready. And let's face the fact, we have proven time and time again that we are not ready in regards to dependence on God, in regards to faith, in regards to relying on him, in regards to trusting what he's going to do, trusting his process. Come on now, somebody talk to me. I know for one, I failed so many times at trusting the process of God. I don't like his process. It takes too long. So God has to repeatedly put me or allow me in certain situations to where I have to learn his process. And his process is perfect, but his process and his time, it can be very slow. Oh, because he is doing so much behind the scenes and so much, as I call, open heart surgery. See, and we see this in the story of Abraham, where Abraham made this same mistake 2 times. And both times Abraham lied, and we know that Abraham, he's the father of many nations. He's the patriarch. We call him the father of faith. But in reality, to get to be at that point where you are the father of the faith or father or patriarch or whatever that is, these titles, you have to start somewhere and you start bumping your head and stumbling. And that's for someone right now who can't seem to get it together. Why do I keep making that same mistake? Why have not learned to trust in God? Why haven't I learned full reliance and full dependence? Hey, it starts somewhere. You have to start off, as a baby. Before you start to crawl, you got to scoot. And before you start to walk, you got to crawl. We are no different. And so we are going to go through trials and tribulations that are going to test our faith and test our reliance and our dependence. And with Abraham's situation, both times he didn't have the faith in God or hadn't built the faith in God because he was afraid. Have you ever been in a situation where you're afraid of something, so you lie, or you're afraid of something and so you cheat and go the back end? Whatever the situation is, it was not like, I'm going to tell the truth. And in the situation, he kind of pimped out his wife. That's exactly what he did. He pimped out his wife because he was afraid. He said, oh, she's my sister. She was very beautiful. But in the situation, he put his wife in harm's way. Come on, somebody. He wasn't thinking very logically, because let's call a spade a spade. When you are in a desperate situation or you are in fear, you do some illogical things. You do some unreasonable things. And I don't want to hear it, because it is so easy to say what you would never do until you get into the situation where you feel like it's a dire need to do this. We all surprise ourselves sometimes. And if you have not, keep living. But the situation was that Abraham lied. It was a famine. He went to Egypt to get food. He said, hey, say you're my sister so they won't kill me. He thought they would kill him. So he lied. He didn't depend on God to say, cover me. Let it be a smooth transition. Let us get what we need. And again, in Genesis, I believe it was Genesis chapter 12 for your reading. In Genesis chapter 20, the same thing happens. It's as if God allows him to be in the same situation where you're somewhere new. And again, you're saying, oh, she's my sister, out of fear. So he had not yet learned to, what? I'm going to put that faith over fear and trust that God has my back. And so you know what happened? And if you don't agree with this, that's fine. God had to allow another big test. And we know what that big test was. That was when God said, hey, sacrifice your son, your son Isaac to me, the chosen son, not Ishmael, the one that he had with another maidservant. It was the chosen son, Isaac. And I don't know, as a parent, I can't imagine how that would feel. I can't fathom to say, hey, sacrifice that son, which goes against everything that God is, right? So he was very confused. But in cheap spoiler alert, when God says, hey, don't kill him, never mind, he says this, and this is how you know it was a test. He says, now I know you fear me. Now I know. Because let's look at it before. He didn't know. It wasn't that God, he hadn't proved that in his faith walk at that time. So one would have to ask, and I don't claim to be a biblical scholar, would Abraham have to forego that big test if he had passed maybe the second one? Maybe not. So that proves to us that we just can't show up to God and keep bumping our head and keep failing that test, because it's going to keep coming back around. Sometimes it gets a little bit stronger, a little bit harder, until we decide, you know what, I'm going to do things differently this time. Hey, last time I was unfaithful. Last time I lied. Last time I cheated on my taxes. Last time, I did this, I did that. This time I'm going to go and I'm going to honor God with it. Because I promise when you honor God, even when it doesn't look like it, he will honor you. So for all of us who think that you remember when we were young, if you from Texas, we had to do the TOS test. And the TOS test used to determine if you could go to, I think they have the STAR test now, right? That determined if you could go to the next grade level. God is no different. A lot of things that you are asking for, a lot of the things that you think that you are ready for, you haven't passed the test. So you can't have that yet. And it is so painful for us because we're looking like, why is this happening? Why is everybody else going by? Why is this passing me up in this? And it's because we have not yet learned. God wants full dependence. He wants full reliance. This faith has to be on a level where it's 100% faith. That means that I will give my life for this. And most of us, we haven't been through those tests. We haven't proved that yet. We haven't proved that yet. And we have to learn that so that we can be that strong in God. It's not that God is arrogant. It's not that he likes to drag you. It's that we have to learn who he is, because when you start seeing who God is and how he works for you, that's when your faith is strengthened. That's when something else can come along and you can say, hey, I've been here before. I've had some adversity and I know that he's bailed me out. So since I know that he's bailed me out, I know that this time would be no different. So think about Abraham, how he had to go through these testing periods to prove that, yes, I'm ready for this assignment. I'm ready for that assignment. And to prove to God that, yes, I do trust you. Yes, you are my provider. Yes, you are my provision maker. You are my way maker. Yes, you can perform the miracle. And if we want to be honest, a lot of times we aren't there yet because we haven't seen it yet because of this right here. Hey, we got to pass the test.